Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me on NLBP TV. We are doing the Lee and Me show with Lee Gabarczyk out of Soulful Mandalas out of Long Valley, New Jersey. And I am Camille Miller, the founder of the Natural Life Business Partnership. Hi, Lee. Thanks for joining me today.
Well, good morning, Camille.
So today I think we're in week 6 in New Jersey for our quarantine. I think we're in week 6.
I would say.
Yeah. So today we started talking about elevated dreams.
Yes.
And by some of us maybe starting to have different dream states because we're so quarantined, is what you were saying? Like it's kind of like an expression of our conscious mind?
Yeah, there's all sorts of articles about this now, about how people, predictably are having these very kind of enhanced states of dreaming, basically in a way, kind of giving consciousness sort of some kind of greater latitude or breadth of experience, given all of the kind of confinement that we're in. So we're going to have dreams that are very, very vivid, connected to different places, different locales, expansion of consciousness, where we're actually challenging some maybe ideas that have been more limited because we're not in our normal distracted rhythm of the day, right? So, normally I go to work, I'm doing the blah, blah. And now all of a sudden I'm like reflecting, and consciousness is saying, oh, great. You're taking a moment out. We're now going to give you some intel in your sleeping state that will benefit you in this process of reflection, because it really is almost unavoidable. If I am, even though, and I know you're very busy, even if I'm very busy, I'm still sequestered in this environment. I'm not having all of the, rigmarole of going here, going there, driving around and making myself kind of busy. I'm thinking, like, okay, I didn't get to that thing in my place, or I have to get to this project, or I'm very conscious of myself in a way because I'm not really hiding behind other activities.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So one of the things that I think it might be, because I know with our viewers, they may relate to this. So one of the things that we had talked about are I'll call them group dreams, where we actually have dreams that may connect to a greater collective. So some people believe that we always are experiencing some kind of psychic interaction. In other words, energy, consciousness is always kind of interacting with other forms of consciousness. And some of that becomes more evident in a dream state, because dream states are more fluid. They're more abstract. We don't have to kind of be limited in the way that we would in our 3D reality of like, that doesn't make any sense, or where did that thought come from? I must have watched that on television, or, but in dream states, it kind of come in different ways. So one of the things that I mentioned is that I had a dream. This is on this past Sunday morning. And I had, I had woken up a little early and I went back to sleep. And then I had this wild, wild dream about being in some kind of like council, and it was about light workers, and there were all of these aliens, and there was this energy coming in, like just pouring into my consciousness. And it was just very, very invigorating, like the kind of thing. And I know people have dreams where they feel this rush of energy, and it's very exciting. It's like consciousness is saying, I got an answer for you. Let's go this way. Right? So I'm getting this intel, and it's incredibly intense. And I was very excited to just call someone and talk about it, because I thought that was just happening with me.
Okay.
So then a few days later, or a couple of days later, I come across this bit of information about there's a lot of people out there on YouTube and through the internet who talk about how 2020 is a big event, and that there's a lot of downloads going on, a lot of healing going on, et cetera, et cetera. And this is, of course, is bolstered by the whole thing going on with the coronavirus, because clearly that is in and of itself something. And then this sort of plays into that dynamic. So they have this big thing where they're saying that Congratulations, Lightworkers. On Sunday morning, we downloaded a lot of information for those of you who are working in the collective, blah, 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 blah. We're looking at this as an expansion of consciousness as we move from 3D to 5D. And I was like, I did not know that. It's not like this is something that I was like, oh, I have to tune into this now because, this is coming. No, it was just so odd. And this has been happening a lot. And I remember that years and years and years ago, I was reading, books like on intuitives and the Seth Material and Bartholomew and a bunch of other people, okay. Manuel, etc. And they would say about how dreams were how we began a process of spiritual growth through a collective consciousness. That the concept, even they had even said that the like great religious leaders like the Buddha or Jesus or etc. would begin as a dream. That the dream was actually a way in which energetically people were collectively connecting to one another, saying, you know what, we need something now. We need this new concept to come in. And then they actually, in a dream altered state of consciousness, make an agreement and then manifest it. I was like, that is crazy. But it makes kind of sense if we think of energy as we're all connected and we're all part of a continuum, et cetera. It's fascinating.
That is fascinating. I think that this is also such a time of rebirth.
Yes.
That kind of makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. I think that just part of any light cycle, and then they're reborn. It's just part of the natural sort of evolution, right? So if for example, if I am, maybe I haven't been taking care of myself, or maybe I haven't been eating well or whatever, and I have neglected, well, I have an awareness of that. And then I have the death to that idea, and I have the birth of, now I'm going to eat better, or now I'm going to exercise, or now I'm going to, take better care of myself. So it is a life cycle. And these life cycles are so driven into us by our environment. I mean, we have seasons for a reason.
I was just going to say the seasons are indicative of that as well.
And how perfect it's spring, right?
Right. But I also feel like this, this virus has put us in our like cocoons. So we've created our own chrysalis, and now we have to be born from it.
Yeah.
Well, you're in this time of pause that.
Yeah, you're adapting.
Stuff is going to come out of this, and that it just kind of makes sense that our energy has to connect with each other differently now.
Yes.
Too.
Yes, absolutely. Energy has to flow, right?
Does.
It's just like money, economically, money has to flow. If money's not flowing, it's bad. Blood isn't flowing within the body, bad. And even within systems like acupuncture, acupressure, what do? They go to the place, the inflammation is where the energy isn't flowing. And what do? They stimulate it, and then they open it up, right? And that way the energy flows and the body is in a healthier state. So just like you're saying, if I'm not energetically really allowing and letting the energy fly like normally it would, or I'm not kind of, especially since I've got so much intel coming in anyway with, every day some new story about what's happening, and it's very, very intense, and, and there's all of this drama going on, and there's the politics going on, and all of this is a lot of energy, and this energy needs to find a voice. If it doesn't find an outlet, then it starts, and the body, conscious of this, even though I may not be, is saying, hey, we need to get this out. Okay. We cannot have this all bottled up because you, sir, are going to have a problem. You're either going to get a lot of like physical ailments, or you're going to have some psychological stuff that's going to go on, or some other condition. We need to get this out. And so people are learning how to diffuse energetically a lot of the information that's coming into them through intuitive and unconscious actions, because consciousness is saying, okay, this is beyond my capabilities right now. I'm going to kind of defer to you, unconscious spiritual self, for a moment, because I'm running out of options here. And because we want to live. And so it's saying, okay, I'm going to let myself kind of like indulge in this a bit so I can see what deeper answers might be present for me. And in the process of that, discover a whole new paradigm of existence. And this is really, really great because now we have been given this opportunity to think outside of the box in a way, and I don't think we'll ever return from it. I think that this is going to set into motion change that's going to go on for forever, frankly.
I agree with you. Yeah. I think this is, and that's why I keep saying this is a rebirth. I don't know how or what the future is going to look like, but this is a time of pause and rebirth. It'll never go back to what we thought it was.
Absolutely.
What it was. Yeah.
It can't really.
Yeah.
It really can't, because one of the things about awareness is it's really a one-way door.
Yeah.
That's why there's so much resistance about it. And that's why most people, this is particularly true when people are doing things where they're doing psychotherapy or maybe a 12-step program, etc. A lot of times people get really, really stuck right at the point where conscious awareness has shifted identity. Because it's like, what? And then all of a sudden, they are no longer saying, I didn't think, I can't do that. Oh, no, I can do that. Or I'm not that person. I'm this person. Or, and then they start shifting that back. But the most resistance occurs right before that moment. That's when most people relapse, or they quit psychotherapy, or they quit training at the gym, or they quit whatever, because they know that they put into motion something that they cannot back out of, because it's imprinted into their awareness in a way that is undeniable.
Yep. 3 feet from gold, they call it. And most entrepreneurs, because we see it, and that's where an entrepreneurial block is right before they're ready to go big. Most people close down their businesses.
Yes.
They go through this panic and this, belief system, and, it's like these walls of, limitations, and it's called like 3 feet from gold.
Yeah, and I think that's so brilliantly stated, and it really kind of just shows how invested, and this is again, it's a very unconscious thing, how invested we are in our identities, and how it is that we want to maintain those identities independent of any, whether or not it's going to cause us to die, cause us to fail, cause us to be miserable, lonely, in pain. It doesn't even matter. Identity, you can see this sometimes in politics too. The identity is so incredibly important to self as a way of defining itself and legitimizing itself and saying, I am that I am. See, I exist. That it goes through this histrionics to protect that, and it will do crazyville just to make sure that it can keep its status quo going. But then it becomes one of, why would I want to be, why would I give up on something that could change this in a way that could be so wonderful for me? And that is really almost a fear of, as we're talking about dying. There actually is, in a way, a death of personality, we could call it. Mm-hmm. Like personality actually dies, and it feels like I'm dying, like I'm physically dying, like, oh my goodness, I can't have that kind of success. I'm going to have to give up my story about how I'm always suffering, and how this person is so terrible, and how life just sucks, and it's just that there's all these problems. I'm going to actually have to be happy.
Yeah, your story changes. That's a good one. This is way off from dreams, but a great segue.
No, it's fine, because it's all connected.
Yeah, and it's also like when you were saying that, when I went through my divorce, I learned that I had a new identity. I'm no longer a married woman. I'm no longer, and there's also, you go through a mourning period. Like even when you change jobs or change something, your identity as a person changed. Your story changed.
Yes.
So there's almost like a mourning or a grieving period as you move through to this new identity and acceptance of it. And where do we go from here? So this is why
I believe that so many, in particular, men, not men and women that are different, but it's just that the society focuses on men and male careers so much. So when men are being like, defined by their job.
Yep.
I have this job, I do this job. And what happens when they retire? They get prostate cancer. What's that about? That's where they're no longer a man. I no longer feel like a man.
Yeah.
What also happens? A lot of them get sick. A lot of them die I mean, there's so many stories about people who have the career, doing their thing, making it happen, then poof.
Yep.
And it's because they're not, this is part of what's going on here in a way, I'm going to really, it's tangential, but related to what's happening with going on with the coronavirus. We have to constantly adjust to the changes that are existing within our environment. And when we're not adjusting to them, and it's really kind of, as much as people have, or I might have a fear about, oh my goodness, I won't know who I am, and that's going to be the death of that identity, and I'm going to mourn it, it's going to be horrible, and what am I going to know? It's all disorienting, and what do I do next? It's so overwhelming. Well, okay, yeah, that may be at places. And I don't know yet what that's actually going to feel like, and why not? I mean, I know that this stuff I've been here. Why not look at it as an adventure? I try to, in my own life, I try to view it like I did when I was younger. Like, this is an adventure. Like, every single day, every single year could be something new and exciting. When I was 16, 17, 18, I didn't know anything from anything. I didn't know what I wanted. I had no idea what was going on.
Right.
But I saw it as an adventure.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, just crazy.
Really, my kids know everything.
That's always a sign of trouble.
But yeah, I'm seeing actually in this time of change, our community, where we're very spiritually based, and we believe in allowing and the law of attraction.
Yep.
I find that nearly all of our community is just in a really good place. And they may not be making money. Their lives have all of our lives have changed.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just this period of allowing. We had a call yesterday, and we just talked about, the beauty of it, the pause, how are we rebirthing out of this? How are we changing? What's going to come out of this? And some actually beautiful things is coming out of it because we're allowing it to. Where I feel that people that aren't like us just they're kind of stuck in their story.
Yeah, I mean, you could be doing
and they become the victim.
Right, and people could be doing this too and get stuck in their story. The only distinction that I'm hearing you make is that people who are doing this are already making an effort to challenge their own self-concepts.
It's who we are.
They would not have been doing this in the first place. So there is a kind of a healthy predisposition, if you would, towards investigation of self. Because there's, one of the things that can be the most terrifying for a person to experience is just for self-reflection. I mean, take the biggest, boldest person, really kind of loud and all in charge, and then take away their television set, take away their music, take away their noise, and have them be in quiet, have them be in silence, and see how that goes. Chances are it won't go well. They're probably going to have a few moments.
Yeah. Extroverted people are having a very difficult time right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is a great opportunity to take
self-reflection,
the extroverted energy and look at it as actually more of a universally applied state of consciousness that can then be also looked in from within. So I think that one of the things that is true, and I know this from people who are truly kind of like aggressive, very outspoken, very energized, but they're well-meaning. They're not cruel. They're just, this is how they approach life. Their biggest fear is fear of being weak, we'll call it. So their fear of weakness causes them to be like this. But what do they make? They make the incredibly supportive people because they don't enable.
Right.
They're not like enabling and taking that person and exploiting them in a way. No, they can actually be generous because they're coming from this robust state. It's not, they're not driven by anything but this energetic expression. So for those people in these moments, it's a great opportunity to look at how can I contribute? How can I? Oh, this is the key. How can I use my power to empower people?
Yeah.
Not to just dominate them. Anybody can be a bully. It's a no-brainer. But how can I empower people with my power?
Yeah. This is a time I listen to another coach in the mornings, and they always say, like, this is the time where leaders evolve. This
Yes.
is the time where if you're a leader, you are leading right now.
Yes.
You are taking this bull by the horns.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely, even with what we're doing here and other things that I'm doing, I feel that, my thing when I was younger was I would sit back and I watch other people, go at it and fight. And I would go, well, wait, why are they doing that? Because there could be, if they worked it out, they could realize how they both could benefit. Why? And I would just kind of judge them,
Silently.
silently. Excuse me as I silently judge you. So I would judge them. And then I had to look at that. This is years ago, because in your 30s, everybody's got it all figured out, right? So I had to look at that and go, wait a second, if this is really important to me, why don't I just step up and say something? You know, I'm going to feel a lot better about it if I actually start contributing what I really believe to be true here, because then I've taken this as an example of energy movement. Now I'm not just sitting on that energy and complaining and whining about it and oh, it's so horrible. I'm actually step up and do something. And when I'm doing that, I feel so much better. When I've been thinking recently, in our state here in our quarantine, the things that bother me the most when I review them isn't just what people did, because it's just been coming up and I know a lot of people are going through this.
Yep.
I didn't say anything. I'm more mad at me than I am at them.
Interesting.
Yeah, because why would I, it really kind of comes up to why didn't I think myself worthy enough to say something? Why didn't I care enough about or love myself enough to say something?
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't change their point of view, which it probably wouldn't, and even if they don't even understand what I'm talking about, who cares? I was able to say, I matter here. And even though they may have a delusion about what that might be, I don't.
Right.
But when I buy into that, then I have confirmed passively their
belief.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
Their belief on you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, we're going to wrap this baby up.
Wrap it up.
I think we'll change the title too.
Very good.
All right. If you enjoyed this episode of Lee and Me, please share it with your friends and family. Let them know we exist. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any topics or comments or something you'd like us to talk about, please let us know in the Contact Us page at thenaturallife.org. Thanks, Lee, for another great episode.
Thank you, Camille.
Bye-bye.